Hey Insiders, we've got a very special guest joining us here today who's recently just graduated from the course LMA, which is Life Mastery Achievers, and he's going to be coming on here. We're having a conversation today, sharing how he honestly found the whole experience from start to finish and everything else in between. So, just to kick us off, do you mind telling us your name, where you're currently based, and what it is that you do for a living?
Yeah, my name's Rob Suzuki. I live in Ontario, Canada. I'm a teacher, elementary school teacher, here in the area, Elmira. So yeah, I've been doing that for many years and enjoy it very much.
Nice. Well, great to have you with us here, Rob. Thanks so much for giving us your time here this morning. And I guess I just want to dive in and ask you, Rob, what was the biggest problem or challenge that you were currently facing in your life prior to joining the LMA program?
Very much, I think in a state of entropy, like just not being able to clearly focus, having times of many breakthroughs, but I didn't really have a vision or wasn't really didn't have momentum behind that vision. So I was looking for that.
And how long would you say you were consciously in that period of not having momentum or not having a vision? How long would you say that was in a cycle for?
I think for many years, I think had some success in the professional realm, but personally, I wasn't finding any traction. I just wasn't finding the right people, the right environment, asking the right questions. I feel like that I wasn't really feeling like I was moving anywhere. So I would just so many years, I think. But in that also, being able to still searching, still asking questions, but not being able to ask the right questions. And I think this program really helped define that.
And as a result of that, by not being able to do those things, how was that affecting your life?
I felt like I was losing time. I felt like, I was looking for people that, could find, camaraderie with, or, could find that vision, but it was so difficult. And I think, there's so few people that, really have a vision for their life, really have, a perspective where they can really be in a situation where they can actually ask the right questions and provoke each other towards that vision that you want to have for your life. So very few people are asking those questions, I think, because there just isn't very many forums to do that, and it
Mhm.
is uncomfortable at the beginning.
Yeah. And how did LMA come on your path then? How did that find you?
Yeah, I was just randomly like surfing as usual, and like I'd pick up on a video here, like Timothy Robbins or anything like that. But so I saw Tim, and I go, this guy's a little bit different. I just sense like an honesty, like a vulnerability that I hadn't seen in other speakers. I think that he was unmasked in the sense of you know I'm going to allow you access to me, and I think most people don't do that. So
Mm,
sorry, I didn't, not really answering the question, but that's what caught my attention. Yeah.
wow. And what was your main concern that may have prevented you from buying the LMA program? And what helped you put your fears to rest and actually step forward and take action?
Yeah, everybody's skeptical these days, and it's just this more bullshit. Is this more, just sales pitch or whatever, and yeah, get your money and then ciao. But so skepticism at first, but I think the more I listened, the more I it just just meshed with where I was, and I think it again him sharing the personal stories, and I think it's so critical. I think because that's what really sold me in terms of I think if this guy can do it, if then I can do it.
Yeah. And what would you say surprised you the most or made you the most happiest about experiencing the LMA program?
What happened? I think what surprised me the most was like that the more honestly I'm getting just starting to open up now, and it's just which is okay, and that's Tim says just keep momentum. So
Mm,
I think that was a surprise in the sense of the old survival brain. I think was more of a challenge than I had anticipated. So I think
mm,
overcoming that, and I think is a recommit, like Tim says, just keep recommitting, right? So that's what I'm doing every day now, is just recommitting and saying, you know what, I may not have the moment, all the momentum I want, but I'm gonna keep pursuing this. And if I have to listen to these, every single week, him speak or whatever, that's what I'm gonna do. So.
wow. Had you ever taken any courses before in personal development before this LMA program, or have you ever dived deep into something prior to LMA?
Yeah, I think lots of like you know, healing kind of journey stuff or whatever, but also like but nothing to this depth, and nothing I think it was kind of like here, there, nothing that was cohesive. And I think that's
Mm,
really important. And if you really want to make progress, is have material that's cohesive and that is a step-by-step guide rather than picking here and here. I mean, which is good, is okay, but
mm,
you really need something, focused these days, because I think Tim says, you know, I keep quoting him all the time now. It's
uh-huh.
funny. There's so much knowledge out there. There's so much information that it's overwhelming, right?
True. And can you think of anything, Rob, specifically that had the biggest benefit on you and in your life that you experienced from the LMA program?
I think, listening to people's testimonies, like, doing their just and just listening to the chats when I listen to Tim. I think that it's inspiring. I think people are being very honest and vulnerable, and I think I was really missing that. I just like I think that that's a huge thing in life. As you get older, like it's like you know stop giving me the same old lines. I want you to be vulnerable. I want you to be honest. And how can we move ahead if we're not honest? How can we move ahead if we're not willing you know, to fall down and get back up?
Sure. And how would you summarize Tim as a teacher or a facilitator or trainer?
That's a big summary. I think he's somebody who, I think has seen both sides, and that's what he, talks about. But I would say that he's a visionary. I'd say almost a prophet, in the sense of, when he speaks about, this generation. And, he said something the other day, like, the world's waiting for you, right? The world's waiting for you to come out of your shell, what coming out and to be the authentic you. And I think,
Mm,
he's been able to do that effectively, and not lose sight of, what he's there for. And I think he also, it hasn't become a business, and he's, remained fresh. So I think he's somebody you know, um, who checks himself and is able to say, I'm here for the right reasons. May not, when you meet me, I may not be your friend, but I'm somebody who's going to coach you and going to, you know, my motives are clear. My motives and in my vision is clear, and that's what I'm going to mandate. So to me, he's somebody who's moving forward, and I think that's that's somebody that people will say, okay, I'm going to go with him because he's going somewhere.
wow.
So
Thanks
a
for,
visionary, yeah.
thanks for sharing, Rob. And I guess just to finish up here and to wrap up, what advice would you give to people who are sitting on the fence about joining LMA? They want to change their life, but they haven't quite stepped forward in faith right now. What advice would you share to them?
I would say, hey, um, keep listening, right? For me, I would say I didn't get this the first time, so I'm going over this over and over and over. It's a lot of information, but you know, don't be afraid to step in the water, right? The water, just touch the water with your toes if you want, but keep 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 moving forward, and I think if you're thinking about this course, and I think if you're thinking about moving ahead, take a leap, and I think you're going to be surprised at what you discover. You're going to be surprised at what you discover about yourself. You're going to be surprised about what Tim has to say. You're going to be surprised at the quality of the people that enrolled in this course. You're going to be surprised at some of the results. So go for it.
Wow. And Rob, one final question I would just like to ask you personally. If you had everybody in the world tuned into this Zoom call right now and you got 30 seconds to leave a message with everybody in the world, what would you tell them? What would you say if you could speak to everybody right now?
Yeah, that's my passion. I would just say, you're not alone. I'd say, you're not forgotten. You mean something. You have something in you that's valuable. Don't ever let people say you're not a value. You're not a valuable person. That there's something that unique inside of you. There's something that nobody else has. So I would say to you guys, all of you, that take another look in the mirror and just be willing to say, is there another me inside of me? And I think there is another you, but you know, sometimes it takes that leap of faith. So